What a game. What a game. Now, I'm going to say that the Sixers, they stole one because I don't know if they necessarily should have won when you turn the ball over 20 times. But at the same time, they took it. They took it. They took it at the end. They stole it from them. They made plays happen. They made clutch plays happen at the end of the basketball game. J.J. Redick 3 to put us up with 50 seconds left. Some things happen. It gets ugly. They get the lead back. Embiid makes plays. Mike Scott for 3! And then defensively, we triple team Allen in the post. Ben Simmons gets the ball. Tobias knocks down his free throws. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Honestly, the Brooklyn Nets played with this attitude like their backs were against the wall. They try and get Dudley out there to spark things up, and we'll get to that. We will get to that. But the Nets, they had this attitude like they had to make it happen tonight because going down 3-1 to Philadelphia to go back to Philly, that's so dangerous. So they pretty much played this game knowing that they really needed it. But they allowed the Sixers to hang in. They were taking leads. They had 9-point, 8-point leads. But the Sixers kept hanging around. And down the stretch, they outscore them 18-7 in the final 5 minutes. Down the stretch, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, they took over. Joel Embiid was a monster. What was that, Colin Cowherd? We should trade Joel Embiid because he's not a player that can work with this offense to the top-notch ability? Yeah, okay. Say that to this stat line. 31 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, and 6 blocks. Now, we struggled with who was coming up behind him. Boban had a miserable night. And how about the people screaming for Jonah Bolden? He was a mess, too. No one really stepped up in that backup 5 role today. Let's talk about the Jimmy Butler and Dudley incident. To me, that was literally obnoxious out of the refereeing. Refs suck in basketball. They always do. They're always horrendous. They're pathetic. And today, we saw that on full display. I swear to you, the NBA was dialing in for a 2-2 series for ratings. I'm telling you, I've never seen it to this extent. Yes, I have. But it was really bad. So, for this Dudley incident, Joel Embiid gets a flagrant foul on, honestly, a block or a common foul, whichever you like to see it. I see it as a normal block. That was a legitimate block. But whatever, call it a common foul if you make a bad mistake like that. Dudley comes running in from the half court when there was no issues at all, literally no issues at all, and just gives Embiid a little shove. And Jimmy Butler responds, but as a referee, you know that Dudley averages 7 points and Jimmy Butler's a how many time All-Star? You can't not put that in perspective that Dudley's doing that on purpose to try and get Jimmy Butler kicked out of the game. This is the playoffs, a couple shoves here and there. That's bull that they ended up kicking out Dudley and Jimmy Butler. On top of that, D'Angelo Russell's literally pushing over referees and everyone and once it got into the stands. What a joke of a call by the referees to call it the flagrant, knowing that Dudley's trying to instigate, knowing that's his intention. You still kick out Jimmy Butler after Dudley runs from half court all the way down to push Joel Embiid. You got to know the mentality of these players. His full-on intention was to try and do that. You can't let that happen. You can't call it that way. I'm sorry, but knowing that Dudley is doing that for a reason and he's someone who stinks and is not good at basketball and trying to get an all-star out of the game, like his full intention was to start trouble. You get him out of there. You don't get someone for a light push of retaliation. If Jimmy Butler swings and clocks him in the face, okay, yeah, you can kick him out. But for a light pushback, that's just terrible. Terrible. But the Sixers still get the job done. And that was when I thought everything changed. That's when the intensity picked up. That's when Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid took their game to the next level. Ben was kind of, I tweeted this actually early in the game. Ben was a little, he did his thing where he facilitates too much and he doesn't take over. And I tweeted, I'm so confused. Did Ben not see what he did the last 2 games? Why is he not being aggressive? Well, once that all happened, he picked his game up. He had 15 points, 8 boards, 8 assists, and he really was tremendous. So for this team to win a ball game like this, it shows the mental toughness. It shows the character in the locker room to go out in Brooklyn in a very intense atmosphere and find a way to win this basketball game and finish it on an 18-7 run in the last 5 minutes. I don't want to hear how bad Brooklyn is. I don't want to hear all that, because that's still a tough spot to be in, emotionally invested in that type of game with so much energy and people getting kicked out and being young with your stars that are 25 and 22. It's a solid win. It's a solid production. And I talked about this with Ben Simmons. It's growth, right? This is another growth moment. This is another game where you got to appreciate that this young core found a way to win, and they stepped up. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, they stepped up. These are your core young stars. So take that in consideration when looking at this basketball game. Tobias Harris had 24 and 8 rebounds. He was someone who was 0-4 from 3, so we saw him go 6-6 from 3. He still gave you 24 points, though. He wasn't knocking them down from 3. I don't expect him to go 6 for 6 every single game from behind the arc, but he was solid. And with that J.J. Redick 3, he was so quiet all night when it comes from behind the arc, and even with his foot slipping there late with 50 seconds left, he drills it. One thing I noticed defensively throughout this game was the pick and roll and the alley-oops to the big man. When you take a look, D'Angelo Russell got 21, LeVert 25, Dinwiddie 18. We know they're going to get those points. We know the way they shoot the basketball. That's what they do. They get the perimeter shots. They knock down the threes. But when Allen has 21, that showed me they were attacking. And some of those points were when Boban was out there and Jonah Bolden. They were attacking those guys and putting them on ice skates. But you could see the way that they were doing pick and rolls and throwing alley-oops to the big man. I want to see if Brett Brown can counter that in game 5 if they elect to go that way again. Speaking of the Brooklyn Nets and the way that they attacked. But I'll tell you what an emotional roller coaster of a game. I was on the edge of my seat. I was up. I was screaming. My dog was scared. He started running in circles and barking because I was going so nuts, freaking out, punching the couch. I was literally just an emotional wreck in this game, but we found the way. We did, and I was, not that I'm saying I'm shocked, because I knew we were a very talented team, but to turn the ball over 20 times, for Embiid to have some big turnovers late, matched with some Nets turnovers. D'Angelo Russell had one super late. Like, Embiid had some brutal turnovers on miscommunications on plays. The last possession we were up. This was after the D'Angelo Russell turnover. We had possession. He sees J.J. Redick in the far corner. He tries to go across the court. It gets picked off. So, I mean, there were mistakes all over the place, but we still find a way. Late, when we needed to, in clutch moments. The J.J. Redick 3, Embiid doing his thing, and Mike Scott's corner 3. Tremendous. We made plays happen when we needed to. We needed a big shot. We hit the shot. And this is Brett Brown on the fly here. You had to have T.J. McConnell in there for very, very, very small minutes, but T.J. McConnell in there at times because Jimmy Butler wasn't there. James Ennis was getting some time, and we were playing a two-man game with James Ennis and Embiid at sometimes. And why is this happening? But that is because Jimmy Butler's not there. What are you supposed to do? You don't have the personnel. Jimmy Butler loss was huge. And we still got it done. I'm very impressed. I'm not happy that it came out this way. I'm not happy that we started out the game this way, is what I'm saying. On our heels pretty much the entire game. But crucial moments. And now, Game 5, we have a chance to end it in Philadelphia with that type of crowd. That was a hostile environment this afternoon. You imagine the boos Dudley's going to get? That guy's a bum. But listen, I respect it. That was his intention. Let's spark things up here. Let's try and get someone to overreact. Let's get this crowd into it. He knew what he was trying to do. That's what you do when you're bad at basketball. That's what you do when you're not talented and you're not better than anyone else. He was getting hyped because he made a couple baskets, getting in Ben's face. He got 8 points. Well, I want to know what Dudley finished with, because it's comedy to me. So, Dudley ended up getting 8 points in his 20 minutes. If Ben Simmons had 8 points, we're destroying him and ripping him apart and literally being insanely frustrated with Ben Simmons. If Dudley gets 8 points, he's overseeding expectations. What a loser. What an absolute loser. Good try. but it didn't work. And it actually flipped the switch. That moment right there put this team together and made them just step it up a notch. It really did. So it seemed like it was all great and dandy to get the environment going in Barclays Center, but what it ended up doing was putting this Sixers team in a different mentality that came back to bite you a little bit. Didn't it there, Dudley? Didn't it? Unbelievable. Sixers up 3-1. Let me know your thoughts about this down below. Joel Embiid was a monster. Just a monster. I mean, come on. It's as simple as that. Go Sixers. Let's finish this out in 5.